Jimmy, if the contract isn't that arduous or long, I would like to get this ball rolling. Can you share with us? I'm interested, obviously, in the dollars.
It's a very simple contract. First of all, the contract is with a company called Pro Council, who provides experts, and Mr. Caden is retained by him. The contract provides for an hourly rate of $200. I should add that Mr. Caden is also a lawyer. I neglected to do that. They're asking for an initial $1,600 retainer fee. Thereafter, it's on an hourly basis, so we can stop it whenever we want. And I would propose that we would meet and formulate a game plan and a budget for it, but this merely sets the rate, and our only commitment is the initial $1,600. It can be terminated at any time.
Well, could we, once you initiate a plan and a formula to how you're going to move forward, you will probably be able to have an estimate on the cost, and could you bring that back to the council?
Absolutely.
I think it would be prudent to, with the $1,600, would you be able to come back how soon to the council with a proposed budget?
Well, I would have to coordinate a meeting with him and the appropriate staff members that Mr. Rojas designates, and working on a preliminary plan. I think we can do that probably within the next couple of weeks and give a report. But I think an actual plan of substance would take a little longer, but I really don't know how long.
Okay. Well, if the council approves the contract with the $1,600 cap, is that what you're saying?
It's a $1,600 retainer.
Okay.
It's an upfront fee against which the hourly rate would apply. So it buys us 8 hours is what it does, and it's $200 an hour thereafter. And I would assume we'd need that at least for a couple of initial meetings and some initial background work.
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
When we were dealing with the airport, we had a subcommittee of the council that dealt very closely with you, Jimmy, and the city manager. I believe, Dennis, you were on, then it was CBMWD, right?
Yeah.
Or was it still at UA? Yeah. So we had, again, a council representative to work very closely on that. I would like to suggest that, Mayor, you appoint some kind of a subcommittee of the council, but along with this, we need like a scope of work. We need to know, somehow get our arms around what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think that's initially what Jimmy's going to be shooting for. I obviously would like to lead that committee. Do I have a volunteer to sit with me? Volunteer. You'd like to? Yeah. Eunice and myself. So we need to formulate our plan and see exactly where we're going to be headed and what issues we can address to get the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation attention. I have developed a real good relationship with Warden Mike Polis, who's in the audience with us this evening, and he's able to answer any questions the council might have. Recent events, and Deputy Chief Stan Stewart will be addressing the recent escapee that was not from CIM. It was from the Forestry Department that the prisoner escaped, but they've had a series of, within the last 3 weeks, of 2 correctional officers being attacked and beaten pretty severely by some of the inmates there. That is a growing concern of the council and the community. I don't know whether the correctional officers are getting the proper amount of rest between their shifts. I know they've been working a lot of extra overtime there. But it is obviously a problem, and I'm not picking on CIM or YTS or Frontera. I am picking on the Department of Corrections and particularly the State Assembly. The governor did have a proposed plan to build some more correctional facilities and do some other innovative programs to lessen the population of our state prisons. But I guess the politics got in the way, and it was pretty well tore up in the Assembly and the Senate to practically to where it was really nothing. So I think it's probably, I know it is the responsibility of this council for the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and that's why I'm doggedly pursuing this. I'm not picking on the warden or anybody at CIM, and I would like to think we're trying to help the employees out there and the community surrounding them, and even the well-being of the prisoners. I would really like to form a relationship with the warden as we move forward on this issue, because it can only benefit CIM and YTS and Frontera. Will probably be a long, arduous. I talked to Secretary Tilton of the Department of Corrections over the phone, and he said, "Well, Mayor, we have the same problem up and down the state." And I said, "No, you don't." And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, you name one city in the state of California that has 3 correctional facilities with over 10,000 people." He says, "Well, I can't." And I said, "Well, then Chino is particularly interested in you doing something, because we are impacted more than any other city in the state of California." And he couldn't deny that. But, of course, I got no help from the secretary. But I've been around politics, and most of my colleagues here have been around politics enough to know that the squeaky wheel will get some grease. And if the state legislature doesn't want to do anything, it's not really the Department of Corrections. If the state legislature doesn't want to do anything, then we'll have to make their life miserable. We will be the mouse that roars, that we have done on several occasions. And I still stick by our guns. Our council responsibility is the safety of this community. And we will continue to pursue that until we get some kind of resolution or relief. I know the secretary told me that, well, they're spending money to fix up the prison, they're putting new doors in or something, but it's really not addressing the problem down there. So with that, I would entertain a motion to...
Can I make a
Sure,
comment
Tom,
first?
go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment. I think it's a good idea hiring this individual with that. As long as that retainer is not a monthly retainer, it's just a one-time, I think that's a good idea. Also, Jimmy, I don't know, have we thought about maybe talking or using as a consultant Larry Wietek, who used to be here and who I know comes to Chino. He comes to Chino, well, I know he lives in San Diego, but I know he comes up to see his mom once a week. He's in town. He's retired. He's a Chino High grad. Have we thought about using Larry at all?
Well, actually, we did, but we didn't know how to get a hold of him. And Larry was kind of our first choice. He had been the deputy state warden. I remember visiting him, but
He's out in front of Gimbel's once a week.
It's interesting. I mean, I would certainly love to speak with him, but we were not able to find him.
Okay.
In San Diego.
Right, but we're not able to
He's in
find him.
Chino once a week.
Really?
He comes up to see his mom, doesn't he?
Every week.
We can get his mom, and
Yeah.
I'm sure his mom knows.
It's either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
He's up
Mom
there.
always
We'll
knows
let Mom
what
know,
the
and
son is.
he'll get back with us.
Yeah, I know.
He's fine. He's doing
He's
very
doing
well.
good.
I would love to have Larry. I think he would be excellent. And we can certainly postpone this decision on Mr. Caden if we can find a way to contact Larry.
Oh, I can get that number
Great
tomorrow
idea.
for you.
Okay.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Very good. I also want to have Warden Polis in on this deal too, because we're really trying to work with them and to help them out. I know they need all the help they can get, because they obviously are not getting it from the legislature. Any other questions? We have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?